Hello and welcome. I am Eric Miskell with EMSNOW and welcome to this edition of EMSNOW Up Close. It's my pleasure today to catch up with Ramon Hernandez, Country Manager with Koh Young Technology, based out of Mexico. Ramon, welcome. Lots I'd like to ask you about, but as I always like to do, I was going to ask you to just give a brief introduction to yourself and your role within Koh Young for the audience.
Thank you, Eric, and hello, everyone. Again, it's always a pleasure to be here with you. Thanks for the introduction. As you mentioned, I'm country manager for Mexico and South America, basically managing all the operations in regard sales and service for Mexico, which is a big part of our business for Koh Young America, but also South America, countries like Brazil, Argentina, Costa Rica that are bringing more business to the Americas region in general.
Okay, good. So lots I'd like to ask you about, but let me begin with Apex. I saw you there a couple of weeks ago in San Diego. We were all excited to get together again and be able to actually shake hands and meet people in person. Even with the restrictions, I thought that IPC did a good job though with the show and everybody I think felt safe and comfortable. So and the Koh Young booth, I came by several times, looked quite active. So how was it for you? How was Apex for you this year?
For us, it was great. I think from my point of view, it was much better than expected. And as you mentioned, it was 2 years since, for instance, I saw some of my colleagues. So it was really a pleasure to see them again. And of course, to see our customers during the show, even though we had, I think in general, less attendance from US, from Mexico, what we could observe, it was much more quality over quantity of attendees to the show. And as you know, Apex is a global show because a lot of the headquarters corporations are in USA. So for us, the quality of the leads and the projects that we got out of this show, a great show, it was, as I said, much more better than expected, with real projects that now we can follow up and continue on that. So yeah, in general for Koh Young, as you mentioned, the booth was very busy all the time, all the 3 days. So it was great. It was a nice setup of the booth. We had, I think, was 10 or 11 machines in our booth. So it was a big effort from all the team, and I think at the end it paid off.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And I think you had told me too, I didn't meet him, but that Dr. Koh was there himself at the show this year. That must have been special.
Yes. Very few shows we have the honor to have Dr. Koh in the show, in our booth. He was there, and I think from what we could observe, he was really happy to see again the great job that was done by all the marketing team, the TS team, and seeing everyone again. You know, after a couple of years again that we haven't seen each other, I think he was very happy with what we have done for Apex in Koh Young America.
Yeah, I bet you that was great for him because I always think of Dr. Koh as the one who drives all the innovation within Koh, right? That he kind of sits in Korea and kind of masterminds everything. And it must be good for him to actually speak to the customers and get out there and again and kind of reinforce and get his thoughts going about what else you guys could be developing.
No, yeah, you're right. For him, is more, you know, his background is R&D, is engineering, and where he goes and see what, you know, all his team or his organization has done and achieved, and see how the booth is set up and everything is working, is up and running. You could feel the good atmosphere, and you know that he really appreciates all the effort that at the end of the day he's doing with all the company. Yeah,
no doubt. Well, let's get into your business. I'm especially interested in the EV business in Mexico, the electronic vehicle. There's, you know, it's growing, right? That is certainly the trend. You know, when you talk vehicles, electrification is the future. How is that evolving down there? What are you seeing in your business?
It's been doing great, and I'm thinking like this because since last year we have seen a huge boom on electronic vehicles in Mexico, US as well, but in Mexico with all the EMS that we have over here in all the different states, we have seen a huge demand for new products, and you don't only see it in one of the EMS, which is what is good is you see in several of them. So not only one or two, you see, oh, I have this project in this EMS A, B, C, and D, and good thing is that we are being part of that new business, new technology that is coming to Mexico. So yeah, so far has been great. We expect that this will continue. As you know, some countries are already announcing that electronic vehicles will be mandatory in the near future, in the following years. So we expect that this trend continue really strong in Mexico.
Yeah, and of course it's not like a light switch where you just turn off the the standard cars and go to electronic vehicles. You're going through this transition. But everything I read, and you mentioned the countries that are requiring mandatory after certain, I was just reading something about that yesterday. So it's certainly the move. But with that come challenges as well, no doubt, from an inspection perspective, do they not?
Yes. Yes. We've been, customers will lead you where you need to innovate, where you need to develop. And based on these demands from the customers, we have been, I wouldn't say forced, but somehow being able to keep going, keep the trend with the customers, and don't stay like stationary, because sometimes we get some products from the customers, some projects, and we say, yeah, we can do it, right? And when we have the product in our hands and we put it in our system, we think, oh, it's working, but it will work better if we improve this and we improve that. So I think that's how we grow together with the customers, and we create these strong partnerships, and the trust that a lot of the customers put in KYA, in Koh Young in general, has been great on this new innovation for EV.
Yeah, and we had spoken before we started the recording here about the one of the challenges being, I think you had mentioned the pin through hole that you thought was going to be, moving away, but now you're having to adapt. Tell me about that.
Yes, a few years back, I remember in headquarters, we were talking about what is the future, and at that point we were talking about electronic vehicles, semiconductor, 5G, all the things that we are seeing today. And I remember talking about through-hole inspection. And we thought at that point, yeah, maybe that technology will continue, but it will be disappearing from slower, right? And what we've seen with the electronic vehicles, to the high demand of voltage and electricity that needs to be storage in the bodies, all this THT is coming back. And as I was mentioning before, we're being forced to change and to adapt a few things in our systems to be able to inspect these assemblies, talking about maybe clearance of the components, weight of the boards. So these are little things that we are moving in the correct direction to keep our customers' demands, basically.
Yeah. And is that just within just adjustments within your standard platform for your AOI and what have you?
Yes, I will say it's a small adjustment. It's not something huge that we need to do, because the systems were already able to inspect this technology, but we need to do small adjustments. Again, these are EVs are some of them quite new products, quite new designs that we see in the PCBs, in the components designs and everything. So yeah, that is making us adapt what we have in our system in regards hardware and software to be able to inspect in a high quality.
Yeah. Now, one of the product lines that you have, the Neptune product line, and I spoke to, we did a show on that last year, actually, here with Koh Young. It has a role within the EV as well. Tell us about that and how that's developed.
Yes, Neptune is basically or one of our newest equipment, which is conformal coating inspection. Mm-hmm. And with EV, we are seeing a lot of conformal coating processes, and conformal coating has been there for a long time, but it was not mandatory to have automatic inspection. And now with the rates that we're seeing that the boards are being produced, and we are seeing a huge increase on the conformal coating lines. Mm-hmm. So again, always Koh Young with the innovation that always has been with starting with the 3D SPI, then 3D AOI, pin inspection. Now we're seeing 3D inspection, thickness inspection for conformal coating, because it's not only presence absence like before. Now it's thickness and very specific thickness. We are seeing, for example, nano coating, which if we think about it, it's a 15 microns thickness inspection, for example. Mm-hmm. So it's a very demanding market. But again, Neptune has been a very good technology for this new process, and we are seeing with the high number of sales that we are having with the Neptune equipment.
Yeah, and like you say, it's more than just the EV market. You know, it's in the other. So I'm assuming, you know, in those that require kind of harsh environments and what have you, that those type of products lend themselves to more conformal coating, which is where Neptune comes in.
Right. You're right, Eric. It's not only EV, but for example, medical products as well, where we're seeing a lot of conformal coating processes. And like I mentioned with the THT inspection, mm-hmm. sometimes we have some challenges from the customer, right? Talking about underfill inspection, for example. Hey, can you inspect this? Yeah, sure. Let us take a look. And so the machine Neptune is able to inspect conformal coating, underfill, pouring, so different materials that we are able to handle. And these materials are not only in the electronic vehicles, like I mentioned. Mm-hmm. It could be from an LED perspective, from medical products as well. So again, the bandwidth that we have with the Neptune is pretty big, and is adapting the market very, very nicely.
Yeah. And you just said something in your comment there that I've always appreciated about Koh Young, which is how close you guys stay with your customers and how much they drive the technology and what you're developing there. And Mexico has been a very important market, obviously, for electronics manufacturing, as a result for Koh Young. And you have a newly formed organization, the Koh Young America's Mexico, that has begun. Tell us about that and what that means for customers there.
Right, that's something that we feel very proud. Again, as general in Koh Young, but as a Mexican, you know, to be able, a few years back, we were only 3 or 4 members for Koh Young Mexico organization, and we are, I think nowadays, like close to 25 members. So the organization has been growing a lot, and with all the having the needs to have different offices throughout Mexico and demo room as well, to have machines, together with the government regulations, we decided to establish Koh Young America Mexico, which is basically a branch from Koh Young America. And now with all the activity that we're seeing in Mexico, we still report and work very closely with Koh Young America, with Joel, which is our GM.
Yep.
but we saw the need to be closer to our customers and to have, as I mentioned, better solutions, faster solutions for them with demo room, with being able to process their sample boards. And you know, with all these, we decided to establish the Koh Young America Mexico branch.
Okay. Where is the demo room in Mexico? Is that Guadalajara?
Yes, we have a demo room in Guadalajara with all the equipment that we have in Koh Young, talking about SPI, AOI, KYP3, which is our pin inspection machine, Neptune machine as well. And together with our rep organization, Repstronics, we have demo rooms also in Monterrey and Ciudad Juarez as well, with all these solutions that we currently have at Koh Young.
Okay, so clients can come in there, they can bring their demo boards, they can kind of test it out, see, and work with either somebody directly from Koh Young or from Repstronics to kind of see how that would work.
Yes, it's always from the engineering side, it's always from Koh Young. And as I mentioned, if we are in Monterrey, so we use our partners demo room and all the machines they have over there. But it's a good point that you mentioned, just being able to react and to respond to the customer very fast. I mean, next day or with the same day, hey, I have this challenge, can we inspect it?
Mm-hmm.
And even Eric, sometimes it's not even a sales activity, it's really a partners activity in which they have a challenge, they have some maybe issues or needs, and they just send the boards and tell us, hey, please do the measurement, send me the data, because I need to adjust something in our process. So that's when I'm talking about being close to our customers, is also being that, to just to be there for the customers when they need something specific.
Yeah. Now, I think this is exciting news because obviously Mexico is an important place for electronics manufacturing. And with the reshoring that we're hearing more and more about, and more manufacturing shifting back to the Americas, and Mexico is certainly, I think the growth projections for Mexico are pretty strong and will continue to be for several years. So that should be benefiting your business as well, I'd imagine.
Yes, and that's something we are seeing since, I will say, end of 2019, Eric, in where we're seeing this reshoring. And, you know, the geography of Mexico, just being close to USA, which is our biggest partner, give us a very good competitive advantage, talking about just geography in the Americas. And with all the government incentives for the companies, I think it's been a very good combination. And as you mentioned, this is something that we are expecting to keep going for several years, right? And we know that, as we were talking at the beginning, it cannot be always like this, but what we are expecting just to be something like this, right?
There you go.
To keep growing. And I think with all the talent that we have in Mexico, talking about in general, like I always mention, in Mexico, we have great talent, not only from the manufacturing perspective, it can be from R&D, software development. And I think that's one of the key factors that we're seeing this growth in Mexico in general.
Yeah. And then you also have the whole issue of the factory of the future, where, you know, the need to kind of replace and upgrade equipment, where legacy equipment based on older manufacturing technologies are being replaced as things modernize, and with the drive for the factory of the future. So I would imagine that means that there's some good continued potential there within Mexico in older industries.
Yes, is that, Eric, for sure, that the need to automate the process, customers are trying to run, and some of them are already achieved to run a production line without any operators, or maybe run 3 or 4 lines with only one operator. That is something that is pushing a lot, all the activities with the smart factory of the future. But also, there are still some customers out there, believe it or not, they don't have SPI, for example, or they don't have an AOI machine. And in this trend, in this needs that market nowadays, we're seeing that these customers that before maybe it was not needed to have like something very basic like an SPI or AOI, now also they are investing. And it's amazing how we see the market share and the opportunities in all the different sectors, SPI, AOI, pin machines, that at some point we thought, you know, it's done. In SPI, we have more than 50% of the market share. So we always think, oh, you know what, we will just continue with this, but it keeps growing and keeps growing by these factors, smart factory and just the customers, they need to keep up, right, with all the competition as well.
No, absolutely. I think that it bodes well for the future for Mexico and also obviously for your business there.
Right.
We must end this, but I want to say thank you. This is exciting. I'm hoping to come down to Mexico later this year, and so hopefully if I'm able to, if you're in Guadalajara, I'd love to come by and see the demo room and see what it actually is. I've always heard about those from, you know, what you have in Atlanta and elsewhere. So that would be good to do. So
you will be very welcome, Eric. Whenever you want to come here, you have good friends over here in Koh Young.
Well, thank you, sir. Well, listen, I wish you nothing but continued success. Stay safe down there, and hopefully we catch up again later this year.
Same for you, Eric. Thanks a lot, as always, for your time, and I hope to talk to you soon again.
Thank you, Ramon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.